Welcome back to the Quackery, bringing transparency to Taylor's local government, one agenda at a time. In this video, I give you an agenda breakdown for the special called meeting of the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 2 Board, better known as TIRZ Number 2, or the Technology Zone, happening on Thursday, October 23rd, 2025 at 6 o'clock p.m. inside Taylor City Hall, Council Chambers, 400 Porter Street. Now, don't let the name fool you. This isn't just another routine board meeting. This one dives straight into the financial heart of Taylor's partnership with Samsung Austin Semiconductor. The TIRZ board is where the fine print lives, where the city decides how future tax dollars inside the Samsung zone will be collected, reinvested, and handed back over time. It's a short agenda on paper, only 2 items, but both carry decades of impact, shaping how Taylor's biggest development project ripples through our community for the next 30 years. So, what exactly is a TRZ? Before we jump into the agenda, let's make sense of what this board actually oversees. A Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone, or TRZ, is a special district the city creates under state law to encourage development in a certain area. When property values inside that zone rise over time, the city sets aside most of that new tax money, called the increment, to reinvest right back into that same zone. That money can fund things like roads, water lines, or other improvements that make development possible. Sometimes it's also used for reimbursements or grants to the company building there, essentially a long-term incentive that returns part of their taxes in exchange for investment and job creation. Taylor's TIRZ Number 2, also known as the Technology Zone, was created in 2021 to cover the land that Samsung purchased for its semiconductor manufacturing campus southwest of town. The zone covers roughly 1,240 acres and will stay active until 2054. During that time, the city has agreed to contribute up to 92.5% of the new property tax growth inside that zone back into it each year. That means for the next 30 years, almost all of the tax increase generated by that area won't go to the city's general fund. It stays tied to Samsung's project. Who's on the board? By state law, the city council itself serves as the TIRZ board of directors, with the mayor as chair. That's why this meeting looks and feels a lot like a council meeting. Same people, just wearing a different hat. They meet separately whenever there's a need to approve financial updates, boundary adjustments, or amendments to the agreements that keep the zone running. And tonight, they've got 2 key items on their plate. As always, the meeting starts with a short period for citizens' communication. Anyone can step up to speak for 3 minutes about a topic that isn't listed on the agenda. The board can't respond or debate in that moment, but public comment is always the first thing on record. The first agenda item is simple housekeeping, electing a vice chairperson for the TIRZ board. When the zone was created back in 2021, city council members were automatically appointed as the board. A resolution passed earlier this month, on October 9th, reaffirmed that structure, with the mayor serving as chair for a 1-year term. Now, they just need to fill the second leadership seat, the vice chair, who would preside whenever the mayor is unavailable. There's no term limit for this role, and a board can select anyone among themselves. City staff even floated a friendly suggestion, appointing the mayor pro tem to the role for consistency. No budget changes, no spending, just keeping the board properly organized as required under Chapter 311 of the Texas Tax Code. With that procedural item out of the way, the meeting moves into the more complex half, the part where the board updates the legal and financial framework that governs how Taylor's deal with Samsung actually operates. Second item asks the board to approve Resolution AU2522, which does 2 major things. First, it adopts the 2025 amended and restated project and financing plan for TIRZ Number 2. And second, it approves the first amendment to the tax abatement agreement between the City of Taylor and Samsung Austin Semiconductor, LLC. In simpler terms, this is the document that spells out how tax money flows in and out of the Samsung TIRZ zone, and what conditions Samsung must meet to keep receiving those incentives. There are a few important updates baked into this new plan. Number 1, the boundaries of the TIRZ are changing. The Lindy gas property, roughly 7.7 acres, is being removed from the zone. That means it will no longer qualify for any of the TIRZ's tax benefits. Number 2, the project costs and financial projections are being updated to reflect that change. The plan now accounts for revised property values, updated development schedules, and the current cost of infrastructure and reimbursements. Number 3, the First Amendment to Samsung's tax abatement adjusts the administrative timeline, clarifies definitions for which buildings count as occupiable, and syncs the city's internal processes with Samsung's current construction milestones. The plan estimates Samsung's total investment at over $35 billion. The city's share of project-related costs within the TIRZ adds up to roughly $805 million over the life of the zone. Here's how the rebates work. During years 1 through 10, Samsung receives 92.5% of the property tax increment. During years 11 through 20, that percentage drops slightly to 90%. And for the final 10 years, years 21 through 30, it falls again to 85%. There's also a special reimbursement clause. If Samsung installs at least $2 billion in equipment by the end of 2026, the city will repay up to $9 million in development review and permitting costs. If not, that repayment cap falls to $5 million. Even though this is technically a TIRZ board meeting, not a city council session, this vote is the first required step before the new plan can be formally adopted by ordinance. Once approved by the board, the plan goes to City Council for final consideration, and from that point forward, it becomes the official guide for how Taylor's future tax revenue from the Samsung site will be distributed year by year through the year 2054. So while tonight's agenda only lists 2 items, they're both major. One ensures the board has proper leadership, and the other finalizes the long-term financial framework behind the city's single largest development agreement. And that wraps up the October 23rd, 2025 TIRZ No. 2 board meeting. It may be a short meeting on paper, but its impact stretches decades into Taylor's future, deciding how tax money circulates, how much stays in public hands, and how much goes back into private development. This has been the Quackery, bringing transparency one agenda at a time. Let's get more ducks in the pond and more voices in the conversation.